all he wanted to be a promoter, a manager, everything, and it takes so much energy out of you.
Yeah, it does.
So anyway, he went, leave it. I went, no, but I think if we put him in heavyweight prize fighter, if he wins that, I'll get him a European title fight, and then I'll put him in with David Haye for the world heavyweight title. He went, are you mad? He went, Ed, fucking, you're on your own. So I went back to the table. I thought, do you want to go in prize fight? He went, he went prize fight. It's not really. I said, yeah, but if you win that, blah blah blah. He went, go on then. Anyway, he won prize fighter, knocked out Michael Sprott for the European title, and then I got him the David Haye fight. Right?
That's like
it was the most embarrassing thing ever. He didn't throw a punch
for
3 rounds and then got stopped. Right?
Yeah.
But I was in big bear with him. I was like, this guy. I can't believe this. I've walked into boxing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have the world heavyweight champion.
Oh my
I can't believe this, right? So anyway, the night was over and I was getting like booed out of the arena by people who I told to buy the pay-per-view. And it was a disaster. I'm never working in boxing again. And I walked down the corridor at about 3 o'clock in the morning, backstage at the MEN. And David Haye's coming up the other thing. And now I've slated him the whole camp, right? I'm saying he ain't got a chin, he's overrated, Aldi's gonna knock him out. And I've seen him, I thought, oh no, that's right. So I walked towards him and I'm like, he comes up to me, he goes, well done. And I went, well done. As if to say, you knew all along, right? I wasn't going to lose this fight, but my God, did you fucking sell it, right? So we've always had that little thing. So for the Tony Bellew fight, we've sat down and he's gone, right. I said, David, you know, big fight for you over Chew. He said, can I just say, why are you sitting in the middle? I'm like, sorry? He says, it's always you, isn't it? Eddie Hearn, this, that, the Eddie Hearn show, apples and pears, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, everyone's cracking up. And then anyway, I've ended up sort of saying, I'm saying to him, well, you're here because your skin, and like, we're actually having, finished his chin Bellew at the presser and it's all gone off. And then about 3 hours later, I looked at my phone, David Haye. So I'm like, hello? He's gone, how good was that?
Right.
What do you mean? He went, that was brilliant, wasn't it? He said, that was great. It's going to really do well this fight. I'm like, you've just completely mugged me off in front of the whole world. And that's what I was saying about you with Stormzy, whether it's like...
Well, it can go left and right. Because you know what? David might not have said anything to you and just carried on and then it's still rocky. You know, you could either leave it or you can seal it off. But with Stormzy, I think he, in his heart and mind, he wishes that we didn't do that. Because he likes me when I'm doing it to someone else, and if he did it to, I would like.
It's a bit like David Haye, actually. I like it when he's doing it to
someone else.
That's like anything. It's a law of the pub or a law of life, isn't it?
It is.
You sort of, when I worked on building sites for years and years, if you were the geezer sort of having the jokes and all that, but when that sort of like microscope, you got a new haircut, or you tried to do something with your beard, and the whole site turned on you, you're like, I'm not about this.
You were funny earlier about that. But guys, thanks for coming today. Look, and actually, how we've started this show is exactly how this show's going to go. So it's called Unscripted. There is no script. It's just people who we like, our mates, who we want to bring down. And a mate and obviously current fighter about to be world champion because we want to get some actual sense on the table rather than just us fans screaming and shouting. And it's basically about just trying to develop more content because, as you guys know, especially you and now you're more of a businessman than a comedian. You know, is a case of content is key. What you do as well, and we love talking boxing. And we just want to, you know, try and create more boxing, get more people talking about it. So, although it's unscripted, there's 2 particular things that we're going to talk about today. One is the heavyweight division, which you're actually going to be a part of one day. So,
how much do you weigh now, quickly?
Don't tell him that. Go. He's got a little bit of weight to come off. Don't tell us what you weigh, but this will be telling us what you weigh. But how much do you have to cut to make cruiserweight from the start of camp? Stone and a half? 2 stone?
I don't want to say.
Have you seen a picture of him when he was younger?
Yeah. I can't believe it.
I was a big.
No, you were just like a little chubby bit.
Nah, you know what? Those are the best pictures.
What was your maximum
I was 120 kilos when I went into the gym.
Okay,
so
120 kilos is 19 and a bit stone.
That's what I was now. I was a bit over that. That's mad. It's hard as well. I was just saying to you that a couple of years ago I had to do a show where I was like, I had to cut a load of weight. I cut for like 4 stone. And that's where, like, for boxers and everyone, I'm like, I know that there's an end goal to this. Once I finish filming, I'm going to be back in Five Guys every day. But
but then they've got to do it again.
And I was like going out 6 in the. That's the thing. Once you actually, I did a little bit of like Muay Thai, whatever's boxing. That's the fun bit when you're on the pads and all that.
Yeah.
When you've got to get up at 5:30 a.m. and you've got to go and do fasted cardio.
Yeah.
That's where you're like, I respect everyone who gets in the
takes
ring.
the weight.
Because you're like, this is a lifestyle. I can just about carry this off.
It's a tough sport, mate. Tough sport. So we'll talk heavyweight division first. Then we're going to go on to talk about reality TV, celebrity boxing.
Yeah.
You're the main reason that you started, because you fought KSI.
He did. He's kicked it off, didn't he? I seen him.
No, you wish you were doing it now. You would have made a lot more money. Do you know what I mean? I mean, you didn't do bad, but
I know. I should have had it in the contract. If this goes anywhere, if
Exactly.
it goes into Eddie Hearn's hands.
Exactly. And there's something a little bit wilder later on that we're going to talk about, not Deontay Wilder.
I was about to say, mate.
So I'm going to start, because you are so opinionated on boxing, right?
Yeah.
I'll follow you on. You don't stop, right?
Yeah, like through the night, like 1 a.m. to like 5 a.m. just still tweeting.
I am, because you know what's happened to me? YouTube has got me.
You're in.
Like away from normal telly and normal Sky, and it's like YouTube, everything like YB, all of the boxing physique, everything, and Joshua and blah blah blah. So I just sit there maybe for like, whilst I'm doing music and stuff, for like 16, 17 hours a day.
Wow.
Do you know, like, this is the first time I've actually met you face to face.
In real life?
Yeah, it is. And it's like, watching you on social media, I'd love to be a fly on the wall.
Yes.
Because I imagine you, because you're so passionate about everything.
Yeah.
I imagine you actually like storming around your
I am a
like
sim.
going, I can't believe it.
That game.
I'm going to go on social media and tell everyone that.
Yeah, I'm a Sims.
Yeah.
I'm in the house. I got my own flat there where I stay, and I just sit in there, and then I've watched the interview of you, come off there.
Do you post it? You
I post it, and then I'll go, like that energy I got from you, I'll go with my manager, 2 hours, riling each other up, and then a deal. So it's like I listen to you lot speak, and then I use it to get where I need to go.
It's nice to use that, but I think that's. I mean, I'll sit and watch Tyson. For hours, just sit and watch Mike Tyson. If I'm like annoyed or I feel a bit down, I'll go back and watch him. And when I used to drink a lot, that used to be my thing. Where I used to get in, I'd fall asleep watching a video. My wife would come in and I'd like my iPad, and I'd just been watching Tyson.
You know what? Normally, when they find you in that situation, it ain't boxing.
That's when she started. That's when she left me.
It's the old it must have flicked down the channel. I swear it's BBC One.
Oh mate,
Give me your top. We got the three main players, right? And there are a lot of other players.
Yeah.
You know, beyond Joshua, Wilder, and Fury.
Yeah.
You got Dillian White. You got Usyk, who is a little bit unproven at heavyweight, but is going to be a real force. You know, you got plenty of other guys coming through as well.
Yeah.
Give me. I mean, you're so good in this situation because you have sparred with Tyson Fury, and you've sparred many rounds with Joshua. Yeah. You've also sparred many rounds with Daniel Dubois, who's a good young talent coming through as well. But I want to go around the table, and you don't have to say Joshua because we're sitting here with me. But I want your honest take of those top three.
Who's the top three or five?
I want them in order. Three.
Right.
I'll start with you.
Top three heavyweights: Joshua.
In at one.
Wilder. And then I want to say Ruiz, but I've got to say Fury.
Really?
Yeah, I believe that Joshua beats Wilder.
A lot of people having Fury at the top.
Well, Fury's the better boxer, they say, like mover with his feet. But I feel like AJ is someone who can adapt. He can learn what Fury already. Obviously, Fury's got it in his blood, hasn't he? But I do think AJ, on his day, is the man.
I think that last fight of AJ's was the one where you go, actually, you can change it up. That fight against Ruiz, I think probably out of all the fights we're going to talk about, was almost the most important, because that's the time you watch AJ and you're like, oh, actually, if he needs to sit back and he needs to change his style, this guy could take over everything. For me, though, at the moment, Fury's the best boxer I've ever seen. I've got Fury 1, AJ, Wilder.
That's the thing, is this based on like what they've done or what they're showing? Because if you're talking about like what they've done, like belts, what they've accomplished, it's Joshua hands down. But it's just like, you know, what are we basing it on? Like previous fight?
I think the mad thing with
lineal.
With Fury, don't start me on lineal.
But also,
what does that mean? Sorry.
It's like the man who beat the man, but then he beat the man, but then he vacated the belts and kind of like semi-retired. And then
but that's
came back a few years later.
That's the genius of both AJ and we talk about the O all the time in this division. I think that's the thing that has to go for everyone. But the genius of Fury and AJ now is everyone likes the story. So when Fury beat Klitschko didn't lay glove, whatever, but then goes through everything he went through to come back, and and then AJ now to come through all that to come back. That's the genius of those two. But then you throw Wilder into the mix, and the
Fury's mad because I always write him off. Like when he boxed Klitschko, I thought because he never showed anything until that moment where you could say he was an elite heavyweight. Yeah. And then I remember watching it. I think James DeGale was boxing Lucien Boutte in Canada, and we were all in the hotel watching it. And he's got like three rounds, and I'm thinking, all right, it's 3-0 to Fury, but obviously Vlad's going to catch up with him. And then it gets to 6-7 rounds. I'm thinking, what is going on here? And what you said earlier about it's in his blood. Yeah. That's the difference between Fury and AJ. AJ found boxing.
Yeah. After
Fury was born into boxing.
Yes.
Right. So you can imagine Fury, 3 years old, 4 years old, and his dad starts sparring with him, and he's just. And it's like Billy Joe Saunders. The same kind of thing. He's got that pedigree and movement.
But what I loved about when I met AJ, and I remember sitting chatting to him, and I said, "Oh, my old man used to box. My old man loves his boxing." And AJ said the crazy thing is like, what does your dad think are the weak points of my boxing? My dad's a no one, he's a car mechanic from South London. But he said, what does he think? And I was like, texting. I was like, it's a bit weird. Don't go back there. I'm sitting. And that was the thing I was most impressed with AJ, is that he's constantly improving into that.
Yes.
And like for me, I look at, like, you can only sort of judge a man at, like, I look at my psyche of coming into what I do for a living. Like, I didn't go to uni. I was left school at a young age, so I didn't have the sort of the natural ability. So I had to learn a lot of stuff, and I had to get where I've got now. And I look at AJ and think that gives you a fire constantly when you're like, you've been through the similar stuff.
Self-education. Yeah, I mean, he's massive. I mean, he's your manager, like, and a role model for you. Like the self-education for him is unbelievable. Like,
he seems older.
Yeah, we went out to dinner the other night. The Saudi guys were over, and he got in a conversation, and he was talking about it was global politics, and it was like the current situations of many different countries, not just
not even just England.
It was like Africa, and he was like, he knows about former dictators, he knows about oppressions, he knows about the economy, and he's taught it all himself. And it's a bit like what you say, content. Sitting at home and he'll watch a YouTube program on, something completely random, and then it will get into his mind, and it will go from there. But he's been, to you see that and what he's done, 100%. And he's a big motivation to you.
100%. I think he's 100% number one heavyweight, not in a biased way, but just I haven't sparred Wilder, but from sparring Fury and AJ and Dubois and etc. He's like, with AJ, what's actually good about him is that he's able to like adapt in training. Because I feel like, as you said, when you start boxing young, you develop like a style and a personality in boxing, and you keep going with it. So you've got someone like Fury, naturally talented mover, so on and so forth. But you don't really see him mix it from being an awkward, long guy, where AJ is able to go from explosive puncher to back foot boxer to whatever's necessary. And I feel like in that kind of fight, but then you got someone like Wilder who's a big puncher, and so on and so forth. But I just still feel like AJ will be able to creep in, get the distance. So I think AJ beats both of them too, which is why I think he's number one.
Do you think he does it by knockout?
To which one?
I think he could knock out Fury, and I think he can beat Wilder. The thing with Wilder is, I think that the big punch that he's got there. They say if he catches him, he's blah blah blah. But Joshua's not like he showed in the Ruiz fight. The jab, he done the jabbing and that. So
when you watch Wilder, the thing, and this is when people just go, if he catches, like it's a fluke thing. When you watch that Ortiz fight, he's thrown that lazy jab for ages, and he's just lining it up. And I think that's the thing. I mean, for me, Wilder's a sort of like anomaly, really, because you look at him and you think that so he catches you, that's it. But that's, I suppose, I look at it as I'm looking not like potential. I'm looking at as I see it now. I think Fury is.
Yeah, he's a big boxer.
But then I look at AJ and that last Ruiz fight. I was saying to my pals, this is the difference now.
It's like I feel like in the Fury AJ fight, AJ needs to take him out.
Yeah, he does.
Are you going to win? It's going to be a nip and tuck round. It's tough to take rounds off Fury, and that's why I think in the Wilder Fury rematch, can you really see Wilder winning many rounds. You know, like he
doesn't
win many rounds.
want to do that.
No, I know, but then also Fury's difficult to hit clean. So if you can't win the rounds and you can't hit him clean, you're going to either have to do it late, like he nearly did last time, or just fall so much pressure. Like I think for Wilder, he needs to be reckless in that fight. But at the same time, Fury's a non-puncher. But there was a couple of times where he hit Wilder. I think Wilder ain't got a great chin in my opinion. But it's like I wouldn't be surprised if Fury stopped him. Right? And I don't even think Fury's a puncher, but I just feel like Wilder for me has got to be fearless and reckless in the fight. That's why I think AJ beats Fury, because I think he's bigger, he's stronger, he can fight better on the inside than Wilder. And I think he's got to out-muscle him. He's got to push him back, he's got to beat him up against the ropes. You can't start boxing Fury, can you?
No.
Where were you in camp with him? Was it in America?
In America,
What was that like as an experience?
Yeah, it was a good experience.
Crazy fucker, isn't he?
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, he was very up and down, which is, I think, why he fights the way he does. Some days he comes in, I'm going to score you today. And then another day will come, he won't say nothing. He'll just be sitting in the corner. So he's very much like whatever's going on. You know what I'm saying?
I saw him we nearly signed him, and I should have. And he came to Monaco where we had a fight, and he came to talk to me, mate. He turned up. We talk about 19 stone. I mean,
is he big? Is he big like
belly
big?
He was.
Like shorts? Does he put his shorts over his thingy?
Well, yeah.
I'm just saying,
does he keep his shirt on around the pool?
I've been there.
I'm still there. But it's like when I saw him in Monaco, I reckon he was 25, 26 stone.
Was that before he did the cut?
Yeah, when he went through all his problems, and then he was like, don't know if he'll fight again.
Yeah.
And I was looking at him, and he was talking to me, he was like sweating, he was like dabbing, and I thought, there is no way.
No way, yeah.
What he's done is incredible.
He came back
as a human being aside the boxing. I find massively inspiring. 100%. I look at that, and also how open he is with it. It's an easy thing to go through that. As a sort of, everyone's sitting around and say, we're working class lads, you know what I mean? So to listen to him talk about those mental problems, that's bigger than boxing. And that's the difference with AJ now coming out and doing that. Because I think they've come at this different ways. But you look at AJ, and I think that was the making of him, that Ruiz fight. Like, you know, when I was growing up, that wasn't a thing. You know, you're watching fighters who, you know what I mean? It was like, everyone lost a fight here and there. That's just the nature of fighting. But for me, it's at that battle back. As well, I think you throw White into that mix and everyone's running
together. That was my next question. Who do we like outside of the big three? And I always, Dylan always says, like, the big three.
No, but I love Dylan.
And I think you can never write him off.
No.
I mean, he's a tough.
Can he beat Ruiz, though?
That's a great fight.
Can Dylan White beat Ruiz?
That's a serious fight.
I mean, like it's likely going to be Povetkin next for him, and which again is another. I mean, Dylan White will only be in wars. Right? And Dillian and Povetkin have got two of the best left hooks in the division. But the Ruiz fight, like what Ruiz is so good at, AJ would say, when you're up close, you'd be in the clinch and you'd just be out of the clinch and he'd just bump the shoulders and then boom, boom, boom. And most of them are coming around the back of the head, the side.
Is this illegal? Well, no, where's illegal?
Really, the back of the head is illegal.
Oh, sorry, there?
Look, AJ was pulling out low, so you're going to get it around the back of the head. But Ruiz for me, is a big rabbit puncher.
I was going to say, even in the second one, there was a few.
They were the shots that really, and really against a taller, probably more static heavyweight. Josh is never going to get it around the back of the head. But he said, like, up close. I think Ruiz is going to be in so many great fights. Like, he's so entertaining now. And I think what he'll always do, unless he's being completely schooled like he was against Josh, is let his hands go. So people say, oh, he's heavy. Yeah, he was heavy. But he still lets his hands go. But against Josh just broke his heart. The difference is now, he's got so much money, because I paid him it twice, that it's about hunger. And everything you said about...
What, you think his hunger's gone a bit? He's left Manny Robles.
I know. I didn't like that move. I thought Manny Robles is a great
also, he's got a thing now where, and you look at him for that first fight and you think, well, salute to you, pal. Well done, mate. That's fucking incredible. But me and you were chatting, and you're like, now all of a sudden he's trying to be a model. He's doing I'm a big geezer who's never going to model. So I'm like, AJ is blessed. He's a handsome lad. Do you know what I mean? But like Andy Ruiz with his gut hanging out, going, you need to get these new jeans. I'm like,
I was thinking that, like, how you go from hero to zero so quickly. He was like a god. And the next thing, it's like you're just mate, you're a disgrace.
Yeah.
You're a bum. You're a scumbag.
Yeah.
You know what I
Even
mean?
when like we were doing the stuff for KSI Logan out there with Sky, they were trying to get hold of Ruiz to try and do interviews and stuff. And he was like, "Oh, no, I'm not. I can't. No, I'm busy. I'm not." You could tell there was something like he wasn't. He wasn't.
But he done so many. He done so many. Like when he lost, I actually said to AJ like a month after he lost, I said, "Have you seen Ruiz?" He went, "No, what's he doing?" I said, "Mate, he's everywhere."
Yeah, he felt like
I said,
Logan
"This
Paul's
is great."
house.
I said, "This is great." I said, because he was flying to Mexico to meet the Prime Minister. Then he'd be at Logan Paul's party here, and he'd be at this Hollywood thing. And I'm thinking, keep going, mate. Because that's all the things that I saw AJ do. AJ wouldn't party, but he would go to all these things, corporate events, sponsorship events, and he was sitting back. And for that camp, AJ did none of it. He like locked down everything. No broadcaster stuff, no sponsorship stuff, no events. And he went the other way, and he just watched Ruiz, thinking, I actually know what you're doing. But I think the social media thing, and when you go back to Fury, and overcoming that sort of stuff. When we talk about social media, how does that affect you? Like, I'm talking mainly for you. You get a lot of criticism, right? Because fans love to criticise. They might say
they think he's wild.
Yeah, no, but he's had a couple of stinkers. That's it. But you know why? You know why he's had it? Because he boxed at the highest level before he was ready. Right? So he boxed Matty Askin.
He took a chance.
Who at the time was the best cruiserweight in Britain, right? At Millennium Stadium or Wembley? Wembley Stadium, in front of 80,000 people. And he was like slung in there, and he'd only had like 9 fights at the time.
Was that scary?
No, but
walking in was
scary. No, it's not scary. But you do feel the pressure.
People,
you know what it is. It's more so being like in a hard fight under them circumstances. So it's like if you haven't practiced it in training and stuff, the first couple of times, you might not feel. I didn't feel scared going in the ring, but the pressure hits you in a different way physically. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you kind of just revert to what's safe. And you revert to what's safe as opposed to going at your show. If you're comfortable in a situation, like you're on stage, you've done it a bunch of times, you can, enjoy with the fans and stuff like that. When it's your first time and it's there, it's like, you just stick to what you know, like maybe stand by the microphone and So the vice versa is you're in a fight and it's like, what's safe? Hit, hold, you know what I mean? But we've been learning, you know what I'm saying? We've been learning, so.
Even the mad thing though, I found like talking, not boxing, but like, when we were doing that League of Their Own with AJ and we were going out just to throw darts in front of packed Rotterdam Stadium, I'm like, I've thrown darts loads of times. I've been doing that since I was a kid. And then you literally go in front of, mate, your arse is going.
They have a drink before they play.
People are booing. I'm on stage going.
Are they allowed to have sorry, in darts? They can have a beer,
They have a good beer, boy.
Whilst they're playing.
The old school, no, you're not allowed.
You like to show it on TV.
No, but you don't even, it's just water, right? But back in the day, they would have pints and smoke fags while they were playing like the BBC and like the embassy.
So your dad's time, that was that.
Yeah, well, what happened is,
they used to, right?
But Bill Werbenick used to drink 12 pints like while he was playing. But with darts, what happened with darts is they used to do the World Championship at a place called Circus Tavern, which is on the A13.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, it used to do the Daily Sport. That
right.
They used to do what Mike Reed used to play there all the time.
Exactly.
The old comedians.
So then. From there, we went down there once, someone invited him down, and he was like, but the audience, like, if you didn't have sovereign rings and tattoos all over you, you weren't allowed in. And that was just the women, right? It was
the dolly on the track chain.
So my dad looked at it, he's like, but the energy was unbelievable. And he was thinking, this is unbelievable, darts, right? And that held 900. So then he got hold of the darts, he took over the governing body, and then the rest is history. But the old school mentality of darts, remember what it is. It's a pub game.
It's a pub game.
So everyone who's playing it is boozing. Right? This is in the old school. So now, only the new generation of player coming through, where there's so much money, aren't boozing. The old school guys, they'll drink. I mean, they'll go up on that stage, but when you say about the pressure, but when someone's going, whoa, you're like, we're thinking they're calm. It's like, it's about 40 double vodka oranges.
When do they go off for like a break?
Probably, I think the old school guys, the new school, this is what we talked about snooker.
What's your man there? Who won it? He was a plumber.
Rob Cross.
Rob Cross, because he was out with us.
Yeah.
I got a great picture of the moment that it's literally like someone took it. I'm throwing a dart. AJ's gone to the toilet. He's not seen AJ yet. And then Rob Cross is literally like, I'm world champion. And then AJ's just come behind him going, you're right, mate. Like, you should see Rob, I'll show you in a bit. Rob Cross's face is like, oh my God, it's AJ.
I think that's why the public embraced those guys, because like you said, he was a plumber. Well, he's now making £1 million a year playing darts. You know what I mean? What? Now I'm telling Wiley about the money. He's darts.
But the mad thing with that Rob Cross was like, he was a plumber going and practicing constantly. And he is, darts seems to me like the one thing we practice like for a day, and you're like, if you're practicing it every day for that amount of, like, you can, it's almost like 10,000 hours thing, isn't it? It's incredible. That energy though of like stand up, when I started, I used to do all the pubs and working men's clubs. That's sort of a dead thing now, but all the crowd would be like boozy, it'd be like a Saturday night, it'd be like, and when I first came to like do the sort of circuit, and everyone was like sort of really middle class. I found that fucking horrible. I needed that energy. If I went and stood in front of a load of people who'd just say that after the joke, go, oh, you were so funny. And you go, why you laugh? I'm not a big laugher. I was Mozart.
Anything that you do, like actually all of us on the table, it's all about peaking at the right time. Because like if you don't peak, or you can put all the work in over 12 weeks, if you don't peak at that moment, your performance doesn't, you don't execute your performance, you're not going to be going anywhere. Even with you, like with your content, if you're not in the right frame of mind and you don't nail it, you know it's going to result.
Even when
you're up there.
Even when during my training for my fight, I had 7 months till the fight, and I was like, well, I'm going to go every day. I'm going to do as much as I can. 3 months in, it gets to Christmas, and I'm done. And then my confidence starts going down and down. It gets to fight night, I'm saying I'm ready. I know I'm not. I'm not really ready. I'm standing at a press conference. He's all like this, and I'm just like, I'm feeling it. And it's just, it's that peaking at the right time, and not, obviously, my first fight, and it's in front of 8,000 at the Copper Box, and I just...
But that's why we'll come to the social media. But that's one of the reasons I love it, is because all you guys, like, especially with the KSI Logan Paul fight, they're all like, we've got the millionaires, and like, I'm training in Big Bear. Like, I'm looking at them thinking, you've got to go out in front of like 20,000 people.
What they're saying is mad.
It's out of your comfort zone. But when we talk about peaking, but same thing.
We've got a bit different in a way.
But I think YouTube is the hardest thing to do. I mean, boxing is the toughest, but like on a tiny, tiny level, for me at press conferences, if you go, because there's days where you must go out on stage and you think, do you know what? Like, and I always think I've had so many comedians at our shows and like our events where they come out and if you don't nail it, it's the most brutal. With you, what or us, or you might be at this stage of your career, you put in a bad performance, you still get the win. You go out, you put a shit video out, all right, might not get as many views. Me, I might stumble a few words at the press conference, no big deal. You might sing a couple of flat notes, who really gives a fuck?
Mate, they coined me in Cumbria. Through throwing coins, because I got there like probably 10 minutes late or something, a little bit.
That's good for a performance.
And then I got on, and then I was singing the songs, and they was in it, and then they was just not in it. At Cumbria, 7 hours.
With you,
worse one I had.
I've seen some comedians come up, and when it goes wrong.
I did a thing called Download Festival, which is like a heavy metal festival. This is when I was starting out early, right? So I didn't know what it was. I just knew it was a festival. I'm turning up, I'm going on stage. So I turn up and I'm like in a Ralph Lauren cap, fucking whatever, like proper sort of chav out of Croydon. I bowled up and the geezers looked me up and down and went, oh, fuck, like that. And I was like, he's like, do 20 minutes. But when the piss starts flying, it just come off. But I'm like, what do you mean by that? And it's a sea of goths and metalers, and they just start booing. Like, get off! Like the kid who's bullied them at school. He's in front of them. And then I'm like, piss starts flying, coins, and then a fucking bottle of piss hits my fucking head. Piss, man. And I'm like, and I'm like, how long do I have to do till I get paid? And he was like, was that piss? I was like, yeah. He went, get off. And then they put me in one of those little like cart things to take me
away,
and they're coming out and kicking it. And I'm like,
what did you do?
What job did you say? What job?
I was just like, no.
What was it?
The opening joke was like something about it stinking in here. And I did say that you'd be gutted if you were promised like 10,000 virgins and you rocked up here with you, like. They were. it's merciless.
They wanted to sue me after as well.
Really?
What? They done that, and they wanted to sue me for 140 grand.
Why?
Obviously, I was going, I was like, sue. Then I had a meeting, my manager was like, look, we've got to pay something.
What?
I said,
We're getting coins.
mate,
because you were late.
Was you that
I
bad?
was 10 minutes late,
Was you that
literally.
bad?
Fuck it.
I was on site, but 10 minutes late onto stage.
But 10 minutes is nothing.
That's what it was. I was 10 minutes late onto stage. I was probably in the dressing room having a drink, whatever. And I've come on a bit late, and I got coined, and I got sued. Like that.
It is, but it's a
So
horrible
the moral of the
horrible
story is
song.
don't go back to Cumbria.
No, go there, but be on time.
But when you're telling jokes and no one's laughing,
Oh, that must be the worst.
but that is the worst. But then I look at it and think, in what we do, it's preparation, but in a sense of like, we're up against ourselves in a sense of like you're home writing an album, you're at home, I'm writing a TV, whatever. But like I was saying to you before, like when you get in that ring and like you've trained and the guy pings you, and in your head you go, oh shit, like, this guy's a lot better than I thought. And then like me and you can go, like, this is 20 minutes. Like, fuck, but when you're like up against it and you can't just fall down, you've got fucking
3 minutes, 12 rounds.
Fuck, man. That's hard work. That's, when I sit and watch boxing, I'm like...
You know when you talk about like, this goes on to the YouTube fight, which we won't get there yet, and this goes on particularly about your stuff with like Stormzy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I did this podcast with BBC, and I was talking to Kano about it.
Yeah.
About how everything and where you started, to be successful, you have to commercialise to a point where you have to appeal to the mass audience, right? And it takes the rawness away from what you do. And some people do it and some people don't do it. Like with Kano, he's done that, but kind of, he convinced me anyway that he wants to try and keep that rawness of, I know that I have to be a little bit commercial, but, and that was when I was laughing about all your stuff with Stormzy and Ed Sheeran and stuff like you were like, that's just not you. And it's the same with you, like you go back to all those gigs you used to do. Now, all of a sudden you might be getting money to go to a corporate event, and you're sitting there thinking,
but you then also have to...
this ain't me, but...
I like them though, corpse now. I never used to, but now I roll up there, that glass of wine off there, that bites. I
you're
like
probably
it.
one of the real people who actually didn't, not sell your soul, but,
I sold something.
Did you?
I sold something, but not my soul. Maybe I sold because I was young, I wanted money, and I didn't think about my scene. I thought about myself there. I was trying to follow Dizzy. I was thinking, well, if he cuts out, man, I'll go in with him. But God had a different plan for me. He wanted me to stick around and help the people in the scene, like a youth club. He had a different plan.
I came in the opposite. I came in this late. I was like, I've been a scaffolder. So when I came into this, like my whole energy is, I'm an everyman. I'm like, when people come and watch me and see it, I am what you see is what you get. And don't get me wrong, there's bits of that get like sort of scraped away a little bit because you're in this industry. But the transition for me was like, and the people who follow, like, is number one of my big things is, how do I open that door? Because school gave up on me on a young age, and I'm doing this now, and I've got like fucking awards, whatever, I've done well. But how many kids are there, especially young men, who are like looking at going, how do I get to that point? How do I, and it's very hard to break into comedy drama as a writer. Like Ashley Walters is a good pal of mine. And I look at how much me and Ashley have had to accomplish. He smashed it, but how long's Ashley been going? Like, to get to where me and Ashley, and we're both starting up production companies, and he's one of my inspirations. Well, I look at me and Ashley and I think, like, there's guys that I can tell you, like, who come out of uni and come out of Eton or whatever, and they're like 10 steps in front of me and Ashley. And it's not a talent thing. So it's like, for me, one of the most important things is to go, right, how do I get young people to write and to, into it? So I spent a lot of time with like into film and whoever doing that stuff. But my thing was, I came to this late, so I'm already what I am. I'm a product of the environment I've come from. I've had to graft. That's why every morning, like, when I talk to your old man, I'm up every morning at 6 because I was doing that on building sites. And when I was going in first writing with people, writing rooms, people walking at 11 and 12, and you'd be like, Dave's 6 hours in. You know what I mean? It's like, what is this? And it's like, it's like, oh yeah, but I was out last night. Fucking hell, but this is work. You have to work it. You have to graft it, and it's the same, boxing, albums, and that is the thing of like. So I think, mate, don't get me wrong, it's changed because now I'm BBC One, and there's another thing that comes with that. But I think I am what I am. This is what you see is what you get. I'm not perfect.
The youth is, we're going completely on a tangent. That's why it's called Unscripted. we've got a massive problem in this country. I mean, particularly in the capital.
Yeah.
But where do you? I think you're a good person to ask on.
That's what they all say, but I just don't
because-
know what to say.
no,
I do know what to say.
But I
now.
think that because you represent
Them,
you know, those they follow you, and I say this to AJ, you're the same.
Yeah, definitely.
You know,
He is
but-
a lot of. He could make a lot of.
But you know, people
kids on
like
box.
Richard Riakporhe, you know, these kind of people that can actually go and can sit down with people and go, listen, I was in a gang, or I went to prison, and this is what happened to me. But how do you solve it? Because we look at things like, and again, this is total random. But I'm just like, this, as far as I'm concerned, we're in the pub. When you look at things like Top Boy and stuff like that, as good as that is, and as real as that is, or maybe not real, or whatever.
Does that help?
Does it actually like dramatise it? Does it?
Yeah.
Because I can imagine the kids watching that going, I want
But same with like the
I wanna be
music
in
as
that.
well, like the music that you were hearing about it being cool to be, you know,
Well, that's it.
selling whatever, doing whatever.
It's
No,
American.
it's true. It's like that's cool. Like even where I'm from in Eastbourne, where it's just old people, or even the kids.
That's inside.
Yeah,
lovely.
it's just such a lovely place, and then people are making out like, oh yeah, I do this and I'll stab this person. It's like, why? You know?
Where do you see?
I thought.
You're close. You're the youngest person here. I think. How old are you?
Well,
And you're
23.
happy.
Okay, you're not.
How old are you?
27.
No, personally, I feel like as much as, you know, we can look at like music and TV and stuff like that, I feel like a major part of it also is the role models that are in the area. So I know when I was younger, and like the people that were getting girls and making money and stuff were the people that had cash in the area, and those are people that were doing whatever, selling drugs, whatever. So you look up to them because it's like, I want girls, I want money, and that's where you see it. But then
That's the
now,
way.
obviously, money and that, you know, it's all good. But when you get to a position like, for example, myself or Wiley or whatever, when you start making money legitimately, if we're able to go back and show like, okay, listen, if you focus on positive stuff, it's the same outcome, but more longevity. Because I feel like when you're 14, 15, that's roughly the time when most people really get seriously involved. If you could see 10 years in front this way, or 10 years in front the other way, you realise that you can make 100 grand, 200 grand, 300 grand on the roads, whatever, and then you've got that money, but you can't do nothing with it. But if you do it legitimately, you can get a mortgage, where you can't get a mortgage the other way, but it's the lack of knowledge and education in that way. So
Do you think it's a vision thing where they can't see it?
100%.
Is
I
it like it
was
looks so
on a
easy?
train the other day. I was going from Hammersmith to Liverpool Street on the Underground, and walked past these kids. They had like school uniform, but not much of a school uniform. And they all looked at me. There was about 7 of them. They're probably like 14, 15. And one of them looked at me like as if to say, I know that geezer. And I walked down a little bit, sat down. Yeah, no, it was no context. And he comes to me, and this kid goes, "You a millionaire?" I'm sat there,
And the rest?
Oh wait, I swear. Anyway, he's my man. He says you're a millionaire. So I'm thinking, you guys going to mug me, or just going to? So he goes, you ain't a millionaire. I said,
Go prove it.
He says, you ain't a millionaire. He says, you've got an iPhone 7. I said, is that how you establish you're a millionaire? I said to him, what are you doing? They went, oh, we just come from Hammersmith. We're at this detention centre place, like blah blah blah. I went, oh, what happens there? I said, well, we all got kicked out of school, so we ended up in this place. So blah blah blah. So I said, all right. He said, but it's shit. Like they don't even. He said, like we just fuck about all day. Do you know what I mean? Like they're not even in the classroom. We just do whatever we want. And I said to him, what's the point of that? Though? Where are you going to go with that? No, well, fucking who cares? He said, who cares about us?
You know what?
That's a joke.
And that's our job. Don't worry, because you know what? We've got to go back, mate. Because the truth of the matter is, I was one of those kids as well, but I did not in this day. It's 2020. So in my day, it wasn't like that. It was a bit more. You just play outside. Everyone. There was burglars. There was everything there. But we wasn't trying to stab each other at 14. So today,
where does that come from? What is that?
Fatherless,
parenting.
parenting. It comes from drug addicted mum, dad. It's all, mate. Some stuff, I hate to say it, maybe can't be solved. Not everything can be solved, but it is up to us to go back. And I'm glad you brought that up because every day, my dad works in one.
I'm passionate about it for boxing because
there's a load of boxers in there.
Yeah, but boxing is such a great way to teach discipline, to teach respect, to give you some kind of focus. I mean, good for health on another level, like training. And when I look at you, I look at Ratpor, I look at AJ, but they are self-made examples of people. And I'm not saying that by going to an amateur boxing club, you're going to become the world heavyweight champion. But I'm just saying it's going to give you some kind of focus of being around positive people. But the problem is people will come on to me and said, "Oh, would you come to this place and talk about?" I'm like, "I can't. What am I going to do?" "Oh yeah, mate, I grew up. You know, my old man cracked it, and I grew up in a 7-bedroom house. But let me tell you, if you work hard, you can make money. You know what I mean? But you guys, you got the responsibility to, like, especially people and us. And listen, if AJ had more time to do it, but he's like, and Richard's doing quite a lot at the moment. You do a lot of it. I think you've got to do it.
I do have to do it.
And I think it's just because they look at you and say, okay. Like, possible. I can actually see there is a way.
I do think that this into film from where you take kids from like, sort of like poor areas and you go, right, come into making films, make, you know, funny videos. I've done like stuff with, you know, pals of mine for the industry. But like we did this big award thing and it was like Eddie Redmayne and all these people were there. And I was like, fucking hell, I've done nothing compared. This guy's won an Oscar. And then, but when I went on stage, it was like, the woman who runs it was like, the warmth towards you is like, he comes from where we come from. He's like one of us.
Relatable.
Like, Eddie Redmayne is like, you know, but
it's so easy to inspire in your position. And you as well, because nowadays, mate, these kind of people will one day become granddads. And actually, when I look at, I've got 2 daughters, mate, all they do is watch YouTube. And
I think
so I have to say, like, I have to be honest, as a parent, like, you're okay. You're respectable. You're bright. No, you have a vision, right? Some of these YouTube things that I'm watching, you know, and I'm looking at my daughters going, "Oh, I love," you know. So I'm thinking, no, I want your hero to be Jessica Ennis, or like, you know, someone like a heptathlete, or and they're like, "No, I love this is Esme. She's got this horse YouTube channel."
I think the thing why YouTube, you know, it connects with people, especially the kids. It's like through that screen. They almost feel like they're your mate. So whereas, say, like the big sports stars, they're almost untouchable. I can't get near them. Whereas these guys, I can really connect with this person. They're talking about horses. They're showing about horses. I love horses, and they're talking to me. That's what it is. Do you know what I mean? It's like you can connect with your audience so mad, and that's why, like, say, going onto the YouTube boxing, you see how wild they are. They're so invested in these guys because over the years, you know, KSI Logan, they've built up that connection with the audience. So that audience will do whatever they do. You know what I mean?
Did they start it from playing computer and swearing through the mic?
Well, not all of us. Obviously, I started as I wanted to be a filmmaker. So
I understand.
And then I went on to YouTube because that's easy to upload it, right?
Are you part of the Sideman?
Nah.
Oh, okay.
Nah, don't qualify.
No, go on.
Nah, basically, they though, KSI and that lot, they started, video games.
Playing computer and swearing.
But not just swearing, like it was his personality and stuff. It was all that.
I did. He was the first person on a podcast. I went, "Can I just ask you, like, how did this all start?" Well, I scored a free kick in FIFA. He goes, and I sent it to my mate, the video of it, and he was like, "That's sick. You should upload that." So I put it out, and then it went. And the next thing, people saying to me, "Do another one." So he was just basically uploading free kicks and stuff like that.
Because basically,
it's very hard to score a free kick.
No, that's the thing. Like, it's not just the scoring a free kick; it was his reaction. That's what it was. And no one else would react like him. Like, it's like nowadays. I don't know. Well, before personalities would be on, you know, TV or whatever, doing their thing. Now it's just that accessible. You can express yourself through just uploading like that. And obviously, I mean, he was the first person that I watched, KSI. He's inspired probably the whole of the UK scene, like massively. But it's mad.
You've got, even at any age, you should be picking your idols. And like, so for me, I was like, I remember first seeing Mickey Flanagan and going, right, fuck it. I was at a gig, I saw him, I'm like, shit, I could fucking give that a try. And then I like, you want to go bigger. So now I look at, say, Kevin Hart, and I go, just the size of Kevin Hart, but also what Kevin Hart's doing in like podcasts, films, but he's going out into like the private areas.
Isn't Flanagan one of those people that we talked about earlier who lost a little bit of his buzz through the commercial? Like, he was the rawest of the raw, wasn't he? I mean, he was blue.
The best I've ever seen.
Yeah, but then...
But then I think the thing that's interesting with Mickey is actually that I don't think he will succumb to... I think he's exactly what we're talking about with... Mickey Flanagan is what Mickey Flanagan is, and he won't almost go down into that mainstream thing. He's like, I've done shows with Mickey Flanagan where he says what he fucking wants, and it's funny, and he's not going to go. And I'm culpable if I do shows. I'm like, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that. So, Mickey doesn't give a fuck because Mickey spent so long doing stand-up.
I think Ricky Gervais is fun.
Yeah, I love him. He's the guy when you're watching.
The Oscar stuff.
Is he actor? He's actor. He's an actor.
Ricky Gervais.
He's a stand-up. Was he stand-up first?
Some of his stuff, like is it Animals and stuff like that, is
genius.
But
The Office.
The Oscar stuff. Oh, The Office was unbelievable. Yeah. But I was looking at his Oscar stuff the other day, but that's another question. But before we go totally off the road, we could just wrap up on the heavyweights, right?
Yeah.
So you've done yours. You haven't done yours.
No, I don't mind.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, if we're saying based
Be
on,
honest.
I don't want no bollocks, right? Obviously, based on who I think boxing wise would beat them all,
Heavyweight.
Tyson Fury number 1.
Yeah.
You could do it, mate.
Anthony Joshua number 2, Deontay Wilder number 3. But I want to see. I want to see. We have to see is the AJ Wilder one where they're both bangers. They're both bangers. Eddie, please make it, mate. Please make it happen,
But
mate.
so if Fury beats Wilder next time, it's Fury AJ, right?
Basically, AJ wants the winner of that fight.
Yeah.
But
They
isn't
might
there
do
a third
they
one?
maybe, but money talks.
Yeah.
But do we think that Usyk is going to? I'm trying to make.
I think Usyk. Can I say something?
I'm trying to make Usyk Chisora, which I think is a banger.
I love
because
Del
I
Boy.
think
Usyk Chisora.
Yeah, because listen, Usyk will probably box rings round him.
Yeah.
But Chisora is
on one
relentless.
level.
And I've got to say, like, best fight I've probably ever watched. That White Chisora first fight. We can say that, and don't get me wrong, AJ, the ring craft, Fury, but watching those two go head to head, and I've got to say, man, I think Usyk's incredible. He's a great.
He's smart.
Yeah,
He's smart.
Fury is technical boxer, but as you're stepping up to heavyweight, and you're not just stepping up. If you're stepping up with Del Boy, and you see how he can hit and he can bang, and also, so can you hit them as hard as they can hit you? It's a big thing, like power talk, And then
his train's going up a weight.
Yeah.
Because like if you were to go to heavyweight, like say, at what point would that transition sort of happen? Because you see how big these guys are.
They're not that much actually bigger than me in terms of frame wise. So I just literally have to just.
You just got bigger.
But would you
get bigger legs?
But wait, but would you
bigger legs? You'll be 19.
By the way, this is just off this subject. The thing that drives me wild is if I ever do a picture in shorts and some dickhead goes, what about leg day? I never fucking know about leg day. And also, the rest of it's dog shit. It's not like I'm like ripped and then I've got this skin. I'm like, every day's been this bad.
Wait, but on you, obviously, if you were going heavyweight, would you put on? So would it be muscle or fat? Because like,
I think you could weigh 16 stone quite easily.
I'd weigh 16 stone, who knows?
So you do right now.
Yeah, who knows? I don't want to say what I weigh now, but 16 is my favourite number. On another note. But in terms of me, I feel like, once I do some leg weights and stuff like that, it'll be quite an easy transition because I'm naturally quite big anyway, do you know what I'm saying? So I'm not really worried in that way. And obviously I've sparred some of the top heavyweights, so I feel quite comfortable. But for now, become world champion. You know what I'm saying? Next fight, and then we go from there.
Dubois was.
He's sparred, mate.
Dubois.
He's raw, but
he's good, isn't he?
He can punch.
How old is he?
23.
He's
22.
massive, isn't he?
He does remind me a little bit of Mike Tyson.
Is he big? Is he tall?
He's a unit.
But he goes in, he's wild with his punching.
I mean, he gets hit a lot, which is exciting.
But
it's just.
So that's Frank's Joshua, basically.
Yeah, but obviously earlier on. But he can fight. No, he's a talent, and I think like you against Dubois is actually a good fight. And actually, one day that might end up being for the world heavyweight title. Do you think Usyk can beat the big boys?
Personally,
I mean, we see him fight
depends
Joyce
which
a lot
ones.
in the WSB.
But I mean that was obviously an experienced Joyce and stuff like that. But I mean, like Usyk's good, and he's not small, but he's not massive. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like someone like a Chisora on his A game, you know how he fought Spilker and the way he's on run of form now. That's a serious
confidence thing.
Yeah, because I feel like Usyk, you would expect him to just pick southpaw, keep moving, so on and so forth. But I feel like at heavyweight, would he have the same movement? And in the sprung, is it sprung?
That was a Witherspoon fight.
Witherspoon, sorry. The jabs are pushing him back and stuff like that. So with someone like Chisora coming relentlessly, if you can't hurt him, anything's possible.
Chisora is so tough. Such a tough man.
I've got to say that.
I've seen him in fights. You know when he boxed Takan? He knocked Takan out of the O2. I was just watching him and thinking, because he's getting on a bit as well. I've seen him take shots, and I think, mate, he's on the way out, and then all of a sudden, you can see him like going, okay, in 3, 1, 2, 3, boom, You know, like,
what's it like to like deal with guys like, you know, all the different boxers, the big personalities, someone like Chisora? Do you ever get like, has anyone ever gone, no, come on in there, knock you out, mate?
Chisora is the closest person who I felt would chin me. Really? Like, because when he stung the table at Dillian White, remember that, right?
I was like, he'll do anything.
So with Chisora, you always know when he's about to lose his rag, right? Because either he'll start moving around, particularly his leg starts going like this. So once his leg starts going like that, that's when it's like, so it's like, oh fuck. So we were sitting there, and there'd already been some. So the actual story with Dillian White against Derek Chisora is, I did the deal for the fight, the first fight, and I said to Derek, right, this is your money, and I'm going to put you on this bonus for the pay-per-view bonus. And he went, I don't want any pay-per-view bonus. Just tell me how much I'm getting. Right? So I said, all right. So we negotiated his purse. And we agreed the deal. All done. Dillian White had his purse plus the pay-per-view bonus. Went to the first press conference. I thought this is going to be fucking wild. I said, this is the pay-per-view. Pay-per-view's going to go through the roof. So I started off Dillian, blah, blah, blah. Dillian's gone, this son of a bitch. I'm going to fucking smash him up. And if he wants it now, blah, 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 blah. Derek, what you got to say? He went, I'm not saying anything because I'm not on a pay-per-view bonus. Wow. This is at the presser, right? This is the first presser. So I've gone, all right, mate, well, you know, obviously he said, you're a prick and he's going to bash you up. What you got to say? He went, we'll see on fight night. So anyway, I finished the press, they done a head-to-head. I went, mate, what's that? He went, well, I'm not on a pay-per-view bonus. I said, you didn't want to be, you said it. No. I said, listen, mate, you've got to sell the fight. You know. So he goes, all right. He went, give me that watch, right? What? So I had a rose gold Rolex on, right? So he says, give me that watch. I said, oh my God. Talking about. He went, give me that watch, I'll sell the fight. I went, fuck off. I said, I ain't giving you no watch. I said, but I'll tell you what. I said, if we do, can't remember how many buys it was, 300,000 buys. I'll buy you one of these. Yeah, exactly. No problem. You're wrong. They went to the Sky studio, but the gloves are off. Right? Next thing, I'm watching in the green room. Now he's like pumped, right? So they're sitting there like this and they're talking. They're this far away. Now Sky put glasses on the table, right? So they're sitting here like this. And actually, to be fair, we didn't even think about it at the time. So now we look back and go, oh wow. So Dillian's here, and Dillian's a like proper. Like once he goes, once it's in his head that he's going off,
I love it.
It goes off. Like it ain't. It's,
I love
you know,
it. I've got to say that.
So they're going like this, right? And he's gone, yeah. Do you think that, do you? Like this. And Johnny Nelson's talking, and when a question stops, they won't take their eyes off each other, right? So like this. So I'm watching in the green room, right? And he's gone. Dillian White said something like, "Well, I don't give a fuck because after this fight, I know where you live anyway." And blah. And I'm thinking, So anyway, so Derek's gone. Something. And I'm seeing him going, like, so we had security in there, right? And he's gone, who's the donkey? Who's the donkey? Who's the donkey now? And he's got up and he's picked his glass up and he's just thrown the water. And Dillian's picked his glass up this far away and slung it. He's ducked. Next thing, it's all gone off. Studio, I mean, it's a lot smaller than this, right?
Sky.
Off. He's jumping on him, the bouncers. So I've run out of the green room. And I'm running down the corridor to get to the studio. And as I'm running down there, I'm thinking, what are you going to do? I'm going to save him. So like, thankfully, by the time I opened it, they're both being restrained.
Yeah, security.
So anyway, and Derek's not David Hay, who will go to me, that was good, wasn't it? He's just, now at this stage, he's just gone. So now, on fight week, we've got the second press conference, right? And now, all throughout social media, it's like, I know this ain't over after this fight. I'm telling you, I'm going to find you. And I'm thinking, so anyway, that press conference, I said to security, I said, stand by Chisora. I said, get ready. If he moves, just grab him. So it started off, and Dillian said the same thing. I know where you live, blah, 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 blah. And then I think he might have said something family related or something. And he's gone, and Derek's standing there, and he's gone, and you know something? Do you know something? Like that. And then the leg went, and I went to security, I went like that, and he's gone, I'm the baddest motherfucker on the planet. And he stood up, and he's gone like that, and I thought, oh, he's going to flip the table. I went, brilliant. It's a bit of table flip. And then he's gone, and he's just picked it up, right? This is so heavy, and he's just slung it. And there's a great photo with like me and Adam Smith, two private schoolboys. And Dillian White's just sitting there, like the other end of the table. Anyway, he slung the table. It's all gone off. I said, you go away, blah, blah. And I've gone up to Derek. Derek's like, now, he's completely lost the plot, right? He's absolutely, you can't even talk to him. I've gone over to him, I've gone, Derek, please, mate, just calm down. He's gone, do you want me to end this now? Do you want me to end this now? And there's a great clip of me going, oh, no. My voice just went up about 8 octaves. I went, no, absolutely not, Derek. Oh, no. Like that. And he's come over and he's standing there and I've got security in the middle and I'm just looking at him, I'm going, do not hit me. Spark me out in front of everyone. And he's like one of the few. So he's quite difficult to deal with because with Derek, you've always got to leave a little bit of fat in the deal. Because at some point, like he called me before the Takan fight and said, my shoulder's gone. I'm gonna have to pull out. Do you remember in the interview?
Yes.
And he went, because he had a bad shoulder. Not a lot of people know that. He went, I didn't have a bad shoulder. So he ended up getting another 50 G's out of me on fight. But you hold it, you know that whatever deal you do with Derek, there's something else coming.
Just Taylor, mate. That fight, I felt sorry for Taylor. I was like, when he's sitting there and he's saying, like, why am I not
these guys? I'm not main event. What's going on here? Who are these two little geezers? They're unifying.
But I've got to say, like, I travel anywhere to watch Del Boy fight because you're gonna get a fight. And that's what I mean with you, Zach. I love Chisora, man.
The main thing is when you have a relationship with a fighter, it's good to the middleman. A fighter needs representation because they need protecting.
Yes.
Any fighter would fight anyone. I could say to him, step up and fight Wilder, mate. He'd go, when wins the date? How much? You know what I mean? Whereas you need someone to guide you. But if you've got a good promoter, they'll look after you and make sure they guide you in the right way anyway. But it's better for me to have that relationship with someone. Some fighters I've never spoke to, or I spoke to them once because the manager will only let you deal with a manager. But for me, I want to be part of your journey. So when you win the Cruiserweight title, I know that I signed you from the debut. We're like pals. We don't speak every day, but
surely as a boxer, you want that. If I'm
you should
going to I want Eddie Hearn to be my pal.
But you should be because if I'm emotionally invested, it's different.
I'm
going to go and I'm in it. And I'm going to invest in you, but I'm going to spend my time on you. And that's like with AJ. Like he's a mate, but other fighters I've been very close to. Tony Bellew was a good example. Like I class him as a good mate. I'd do anything for him. Carl Froch when we're coming through and stuff like that. And other relationships you might have with a fighter where it's like you want them to win, but. Like Darren Barker, when he won the world title, we was just like, me and my dad were just like, we did it, like, and other guys it might be. So it's more difficult dealing with the advisors and the managers because the fighters are genuine people. They've got loyalty because they're proper people. They come from the background where if you show me respect, I show you respect, etc. But the other guys in the middle generally are scumbags. A lot of them will just say, not you, there's none here, don't worry. But no, there's a lot of them, particularly in America, where where it's like...
Now, you know what, you taught me a lesson about America, right? He's meant to fight Jarrell Miller. Jarrell Miller's done this big hoo-hee-ha. Then we ended up with Ruiz. And at the end, I was watching you and I was thinking, this is what Eddie meant. They get you on a run around, they spin it around. You could lose just from going on the run around. You know what I mean? But when everyone's saying to you, Wilder Josh, and the other side is basically they don't want their guy to lose, do they? As much as we don't want our guy
but do you think a big part is where they're wanting to because obviously now look how much that fight is worth if it goes Saudi Arabia compared to
it's worth. I mean, Wilder will make 5 times what he would have made if he fought at the time. If we took it when we were negotiating. And Joshua will make 2 or 3 times. So that's great, but it's still got to happen at the right time. Like if you look at Pacquiao against Mayweather, it kind of happened at the wrong time. And I went and it was a bit shit, really.
Do you think that's why his people are being long with it? Because they're wanting to maximise
Well, they don't want Eddie.
Or they don't want you to.
They don't want Eddie to control.
So it's like when Ruiz, one of the reasons the Ruiz fight was such a kick in the nuts was Heyman and PBC had Ruiz.
Yes.
But at the time, I'm not thinking about the politics. I'm thinking Ruiz, Mexican, good fight for Madison Square Garden. I know he can fight. This is a proper fight. We'll do that. And then AJ loses, and it's like, oh shit, Heyman's gone. Then I was gone. I've been in it too. I've been watching boxing since I was 7. I've seen everything. And particularly the Klitschko, like what you said, when you go through something, it's just like doing a press conference. So people say to me, do you have any notes at press conferences? I say, no, I don't fucking notes, because I live it and I breathe it. Just like this now. We don't need anything, any scripts. But when I did my first press conference, I was giving it to Derek Chisora. You know what I mean? I was like, fucking hell, it's coming to me now.
Was your dad there at the fight? Or did he?
Yeah, he was there. No, he was there at the
did he take you aside and say?
No, but he's always, my dad's one of those people where if you've got a problem, he's the best person to talk to. You could think the world's about to end. If you just have 2 minutes with him, he'll go, right, son, that's what you do. Blah, blah, blah. So in that AJ situation, I would turn to him. I probably did actually after his fight. I think we were in the corridor at Madison Square Garden. I sort of said to him, fuck, Dad. Son, what the fuck? He's gone, son, he's boxing. Take it on his chin, go and do the press conference. He goes,
go and do the press
conference. He's like, go and do the press conference. He went, go and see AJ, make sure he's all right. Next week, playing a rematch, and we'll go again. I'm like, right. You know, and that's when you have to go in front of the press and go, you know, I think, right, here we go. All right, guys, didn't go away tonight. You know, if I go, Hearn, do you think you picked the wrong opponent? So, fuck me. Last week you were saying this guy's a disgrace.
You actually said he was good. Everyone was like, he's good. Before that fight, I was saying to people, I went out for dinner with my dad, and I was like, I think he could trouble. He could cause him some trouble. His hands are quick for a heavyweight, big guy, you know. My dad was like, you idiot. And I went, I might just stick like 50 quid on him. And he went, I'll tell you what, give me that 50 quid, I'll go and throw it down. AJ's going to smash it.
Mate, I would have bet my house
on AJ.
Lost. I would have been homeless.
That's probably why it was a bad decision to pick him, because you couldn't really win. Like, if a guy would have turned up carved out of stone, it was useless. AJ knocked him out and around. Like, everyone at least go, oh, he's not. But for me, as a boxing fan, it was his first fight in America. I wanted actually to give a proper fight. And I knew Ruiz would give that.
But also, what it did was it showed us all that, you know, because, you know, I'm 40 now. I still talk about Tyson, that infamous night. But you still know. But now it's given kids now.
I mean, it was like, it is a night that no one will ever forget, you know.
But also, it's like, you know, I can sit here, I can write drama, I can write scripts, right? You can write songs, right? You sit there and do it. But nothing we ever do is going to have that drama of AJ, that sport, the moments that sport can give you, they're unscripted, and you go, fuck.
They're very special.
Yeah.
Because to be the best, like, heavyweight fighter, and we're England, like, that's our hope, because it's always been America or somewhere else. And that's what PBC and blah, blah, that's why they don't want him. Obviously, there's one more bit of that belt, right? And they don't want, they will do everything, so you don't get it.
It's true. And I get sick of people going, AJ's ducked. You know, you meet AJ and talk to him, you know he's ducking no one. It's like, it infuriates the life out of me. And I'm like, but if surely you're Wilder, you're looking at going, like, money's one thing, legacy's another. If I fancy my chances against AJ, I want to be like, I want
I think we're nearly at that time.
Yeah, we're
nearly at that time where the fighters even say, because at the end of the day, AJ's a boss for me. If he says to me, Ed, whatever it takes, make that fight, I'll get it done. But I think the other side now, looking at it going, okay, after the Fury fight, if we come through, it has to happen.
Even if they don't come through, do you reckon?
Well, I think whoever wins that
fight,
then he's the one AJ has to fight. And I think everyone's going to fight everyone. Like, AJ ain't going to retire anytime soon. He's going to do another 4, 5, 6 years. He's probably got another 10, 11 fights. So he's going to fight 100% Usyk. He's going to fight Dillian White again. That's a guaranteed fight.
Those
two.
Because they got one each.
Yeah, but I go, AJ, I went, who do you want to fight most? You go, Dillian. You know, like, because it's like, because that first fight, I always look back at that night. Right, you had Stormzy wrapping him in, shut up, and that was his first big fight, and I couldn't believe, I didn't even know who Stormzy was, and the whole crowd is singing this song. I'm thinking, wow, and then do you remember? AJ's hit him after the bell, and then Dillian White swung out. Boys had jumped in like this, and then Peter Sims has got in like, whoa.
The big moment as well was when was it fight 2, Chisora White, when AJ came and congratulated, and it was like, Dillian was just like.
It's funny, those two, Dillian and AJ, it's like they hated each other. But they kind of both been through some tough times in their careers, and they got this weird sort of respect for each other that they don't really want to admit. Where it's like, I like, you quite like AJ. No, I'll smash him up. Like, but secret, like, and AJ, you like Dillian, don't you? No, he's all right. But like, but they do. They sort of they go, you're a real fighter. You know, I like that. So we're going to move on to that social media side. I'll get so much stick. Next week we've got another one in Miami. We've got Jake Paul against Anderson Gibb, right, which is going to be big for that community. But I want to go to you. You're the fighter, right? And don't worry about Joe, sitting next to you.
Shit, my
YouTube celebrity boxing, good or bad for the sport?
I actually think it's good. Like before they even came into Matchroom, I remember I was scrambling to pay for the Logan Paul and KSI match anyway, because I just thought that bringing attention to boxing in any capacity is good for a boxer. Like I see it day to day, because when I first started boxing, it wasn't cool to be a boxer. I mean, you had the titles and that, but it wasn't like.
No, there'd been a lull, wouldn't there? Like,
yeah.
Did you go to Hackney?
Yeah, when I grew up and started training in Hackney. But then obviously with the introduction of like YouTube people and AJ and stuff like that, like I get recognised more out and about because they click on a KSI or you or someone like that, and then they click on who else is boxing, and then it kind of goes from there and grows. So I don't really see it as long as they train hard, do the right stuff. You're training to actually be a boxer and you're doing the fight. I'm all for it personally. Do you know what I'm saying?
Because a lot of the criticism of that first card was, Billy Joe's on the undercard, Devin Haney's on the undercard.
I feel a bit weird about that.
Because
sorry, Ed.
No, mate, this is what the whole show's about.
Billy
Joe's like.
I think it's great what you're doing. We need more people to love the sport. I don't think they should be on the same card. I don't think Billy Joe should have been.
Let me tell you the mindset behind that was, okay, we're going to bring this whole new audience to the sport.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? So to keep them, we've got to show them the beauty and the greatness of the sport. Right?
Okay.
So to make them fans.
Yes.
And the argument is, like, hardcore fans would say to me, these guys who tune in, they don't care about boxing. They just want to watch these guys. I'm saying, yeah, but if we get them.
Yeah, we need to get them in. We need to reel them in.
We don't keep them. All right, great. We make a few quid, but we're not growing the audience.
Yeah,
so the way we grow the audience is to get Joe's fans, to get KSI's fans, show them Devin Haney, and they go, fuck, this kid Devin Haney is unbelievable. All of a sudden, and what we saw was social handle numbers of both fighters go up considerably. Whether they stay and become fans is up to us, is up to the fighters themselves. So my mindset is Billy Joe Saunders' profile in America is small.
Okay,
So
is it?
In America, like compared to here. So let's try and build his audience. I mean, it worked really well for Devin Haney because Devin Haney's a 21-year-old kid. I think that audience look at it and go, wow, you know, diamonds and, you know, he's like the new Floyd and stuff like that. So that was the mindset.
I understand.
But it was hard because, you know, I'm like Devin Haney really got it. You know, Billy got it, but secretly was
because
going on here.
Billy's fans would be, they want him to be.
All he got on social media is, mate, it's embarrassing that you're going on this undercard. Do you know what I mean? So for that, like, I'm trying to convince him, and he was cool with it. He wasn't. He got paid. Like he's, you know, but he. I don't know whether he embraced it like Devin did, but you know that audience. Yeah. Do you think that model can work, or do you think they just want to, like, they're not interested in anything else? Because when I do a YouTube fight, I get my DMs are like, mate, put on this guy against this guy, and we just want YouTubers. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, if I do that, then it becomes a circus, just Mickey Mouse. Remember when they done KSI against Logan Paul 1? The undercard was so bad. There was like one bloke, he was like flossing in the middle of the fight, and another one doing that mic thing. I was watching it. You know what I mean? So it's like
the fights have got to be proper, right? And then there's a part of me that thinks, you know, I enjoyed the fight. I thought it was great. I'm a massive Billy Joe fan, so I was a bit like, you know. But I think there's a part of me that thinks AJ's done a lot of that. Like, for example, when I was first with my wife, she never watched boxing, right? And you know, it pains me to say it. She obviously has a bit of a crush on it. But now we've sat and watched you, like, to watch your fights. We'll sit and, you know, she loves it. And like, but so for me, it's like there's a side of it. Yeah, great. You know, it's a side of it, but I'm a bit of a purist, if I'm honest. I love my I adore boxing.
All the purist stuff.
So I look at it and think, AJ, I mean, he's like you're saying, right? When you were growing up and boxing just went away for a bit. And me and you were fans, right? Yeah. When we were growing up, man, it was like fucking
Barry McGuigan.
Barry. Yeah, but like Ben, Eubank, Watson, Collins. Do you know what I mean? Frank Bruno. Do you know what I mean? You were like, you know, Lennox Lewis, and all of a sudden then AJ and you, like, through Matchroom have gone, boxing's big again. Do you know what I mean? Like, I talked to mates who hated boxing, never talked about boxing, and now you'll start dropping names and people, everyone know those people. So there's a side of me that thinks, it's great for what it is. That's entertainment. But let's not forget, boxing is probably the toughest and best sport that any of us watch. And there's a difference line for me for that. Like when I watch, and I've all respect for you guys training, but when I look at like you as a boxer and the guys that I love, I'm like, these are boxers and these are entertainers boxing.
100%. But what if, so Billy Joe says, you can get this paycheck fighting on the undercard of KSI Logan, or like a much lower one going on a normal pro card.
Well, Billy Joe will be getting caned, wouldn't he? Like real boxers would be saying, Billy, why'd you do that?
I know, but is it like, I don't know, because part of me's like,
but you know that audience.
Yeah.
I think the money, like in terms of the money wouldn't be overly different for going on that card or headlining another card.
Okay.
But what would be different is the eyeballs.
So
what I would say to Billy is, look, if I headlined you in America, we might sell 4,000 or 5,000 tickets and 200,000 people might watch. If you go on this card, you're going to fight in front of 20,000 and there'll be a global audience of millions watching. So surely from a commercial perspective, that has to have some sense. But you know your audience. Educate us on your audience. Like, so, they're incredibly loyal.
Without a doubt. Now, the thing is, the like beginning thought for me is like, as non-boxing fans, like a lot of them are just YouTube young people, they probably don't register that it's a good fight unless they see a brutal knockout. So someone like Billy Joe, technical, us, we appreciate it. But maybe, luckily he got the finish, that uppercut. But if it was just like a points win where he just boxed nicely, that probably wouldn't have been much of an impact on them. Saying that, like, it's worth the risk. It's as in putting him on there, getting a bit of hate, but the potential that there may be people watching. There are obviously the YouTube audience watching, but there's going to be other people watching. Everyone like chatting crap about it.
A lot of people have said to me, from like just reading the random DMs coming in, that fight with KSI Logan Paul has got me into boxing, but not even just watching it, like actually taking part. Because a lot of the content they were putting out was their training. So like people were saying, oh, do you know what, I've actually watched the training and I was a bit out of shape and actually I'm doing a bit of pads now because I saw Logan Paul do it. And I feel that when you talk about role models, AJ's the first role model in boxing, maybe forever in this country, because when you talk about Ben
or Bruno,
Bruno, man, growing up, Frank Bruno was.
Yeah, but was Bruno? Were the kids in school going, I want to be Bruno?
I was a kid.
Because they are about AJ. Do you know what I mean?
They didn't want to be Bruno, but they knew him.
Harry. I can tell you now. The most treasured thing as a kid I had was a picture of me and Frank Bruno. Like Frank Bruno was like growing up. Frank Bruno
was he the first AJ?
Yeah, I don't think he was globally. I don't think he was big.
He did a bit with my dad's first ever fight was him against Joe Booker.
Do you know your dad introduced me to Frank Bruno? It was the biggest moment of my life. I was walking around Barry and I was like, I lost my heart. Frank Bruno. But you got to remember when you're growing up and you want a role model of someone who's like come from a sort of like tough background, whatever. Frank Bruno was that, and also let's not forget Frank Bruno was mainstream. Frank Bruno carried himself in a certain, and Frank Bruno could bang. Right? Let's not forget. I mean, AJ's a global phenomenon. You can't. But also saying that about the case, like I'd have brought that fight on Billy Joe just being on the undercard, and the rest of it is. Do you know what I mean? So I love. I think it's a difficult one to say because if it brings more fans, great.
We do need more fans.
Yeah,
we do. So I agree with you on that side, and I think that being open-minded enough to do that, so new fans come on. I get that bit.
About that, and as well, like seeing the amount of people that have been inspired by them to get involved with boxing, like not just watch it but do it. Like the amount of our audience, even from my fight, like it was not as big as the KSI Logan, but the amount of kids in this country that just started being like, I do boxing now. I do boxing because I'm watching your fight.
But that's what I say about AJ, the kids in school. No, and that's why when you look at golf, the generation of golf and the improvement in numbers was due to the fact that Tiger Woods was the guy that the kids said, I want to be like Tiger Woods. I'm going to go out and buy my nightcap, right? No one else in golf ever motivated people to get into the sport, and every sport needs that guy or that lady. So Katie Taylor for women.
I like her. I actually like
Katie. That documentary about her is amazing.
She's the most amazing person. With Katie Taylor, she sent me a direct message on Twitter and said, look, I know you don't do women's boxing, but I'm an Olympic champion, I'm this, I want to turn pro and I want to sign with you, would you be interested? And I was like, I said, listen, come see me, because I thought, out of respect, she's a legend. I sat down with her for 2 minutes, and it was like, this girl.
That's what
is
was
the
inspiring
most driven
thing. Have you seen the documentary?
You've got to watch it.
It's incredible.
It's amazing. I like Katie Taylor.
But she's just so driven. But she's the perfect example of my daughters have met her, right?
Yeah.
I love Katie Taylor. Like, they'll just do things like they might just come down into the gym and like hit a bag or go on a running machine. Oh, Katie Taylor does this. And that's going back to the community, right? Where it's finding someone that actually says, You know, actually, like people don't realise how strong a star or a role model can be to the direction of someone's life. You could have kids. If I said to my daughters, listen, you've got to try really hard at school and in sport, and you've got to give it your best, everything you can do. Like they'll listen. If Katie Taylor said it, another level, and that's why, like, that's the power that you have, and you have, and you have. But it's like, and you have no, but you do. No, but the thing is, I don't hear you a little bit. No, but it's true of those people coming through in your field, right? So anyone who wants to come through, be a comedian, you sitting down, inspiring them. You talking, you got the voice that can speak to these kids. They'll do what you say. Mate, I've seen it all the time. TikTok, like my kids. Someone says, go on TikTok. I mean, TikTok is huge. But you're on TikTok.
Yeah, but my daughter was on it and she's like showing me someone's taking someone's phone on an escalator and it's just like, that's their, it's their world, isn't it?
People just getting creative and doing stuff. But go back to the YouTuber thing and like that, and it's great to bring people through. But for me, the inspirations like you, AJ, that's their life. It's great to bring new things.
But you're probably the demographic that will be inspired by like the real thing, whereas the kids maybe prefer seeing their, you know, the guys.
But then we have a problem in longevity of why.
No, because as they grow older, they
that.
may want to progress onto the real thing.
Yeah, I get that, but you should be inspired, for me anyway, by the guys who are doing it day in, day out. But it can change. People can go, oh yeah, I'm going to go and watch this because, you know, YouTube, and that's great. I don't think there's not a place for that. But for me, the inspiration should be the guys that are doing it and they've made this a life choice. Because that's a big thing. Like, you know, you go, you sell an event, that's incredible. Don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking that. This guy, that is a life choice. And he's not dipping in and out. He's not going to go, right, I'm going to do all these boxing videos, but when that fight's over, I want to go back to playing pranks. He's basically going, this is it until I retire and I'm going to build a legacy. Yeah. And that's
where I'm saying, like, almost take a leaf out of what these social media guys are doing, because maybe these kids would get inspired by these real fighters if they saw them. And that's why it's about like these, like KSI and Logan, they're out there, and that's why I feel like the 2020, the nowadays sort of superstar needs to be so connected with the people via like social media and things like that. Like if they're not seeing it, then do you know what I mean? And that's where, you know, that's why the YouTube audience is so invested, because it is like they're your friend through the screen. I'm not saying like, you know, boxers should be
hardcore audience, of which you are one, actually, is small. Right?
Of boxing?
Yes. Like really? In comparison to the casual fan and the global audience, right? But the way that we want as many hardcore fans as possible. Of course you do. Because they're the knowledgeable ones, they're the ones that are actually going to watch everything you put out, they're going to spend the money on every show, etc., etc. But the way you have to drive people to that core. The way, but we need as many people, potential people, to drive to that core as possible. By doing those events, you bring in that people.
It's
exposure. That's not a guarantee. It's not saying, oh, someone watched you and they're going to go out and buy Boxing News next week and like become a hardcore boxing fan. But what we have to do, and this is where your argument is right, is because once we get them, we have to show them what's great about the sport. And what's great about the sport is not KSI and Logan Paul. They're showing you there's a few things that are great about the sport: the training, the discipline, the respect, the heart. You know what you have to go through. But to show someone the beauty of the sport, for me, beauty of sport is Ronaldo. He's Tiger Woods, he's Muhammad Ali. He's all these things. But
AJ.
Well, I'm not your target market for YouTube, because I'll go to your call and watch. I love boxing, so and like you're a boxing fan, so I'll go there. If Billy Joe's fighting in a sports centre, I'll go. You know what I mean? Whatever. I love boxing, so I'm not your target market for that. And although I go, it's fucking brilliant because you're bringing people, and commercially I think it's brilliant. I'd be lying if I sat here and went, I'd much sooner see you have a row, because that's your life, and like that's. So I'm a bit of a purist in that thing, but I don't.
I think it's worse than age thing.
It is age.
I'm an old man.
No, but we're all the same kind of age. Where I look now at my kids and I see the way it's going, and it's a bit worrying, because I do want them to be. If they want to get into a sport, I want someone to inspire them at the very top echelons of the sport, rather than it's like for example, KSI done a tour, rapping. Right? So like you might look at it and go, and then all of a sudden it's like, but if they come in and all of a sudden they go, well, what? So Wiley's the governor, Wiley's the guy all stuff. Right, I'm gonna. It's like your stuff with Stormzy.
Yeah.
Whereas I think it's massive for you. Because as big as you are, all of a sudden this guy's putting out 2 or 3 tracks about you. Do you know what I mean? Like if that was me, I'd be sitting there going,
Wait, was that intentional? Like, as in,
I wasn't know that.
Did you go after him? Did
You know,
you think,
you
It
used to call each
wasn't
other.
meant to, but one day I was doing my Ed Sheeran, because Ed Sheeran's my guy, and then he come in the comments and said, "No, Wiley, man, blah blah." So I always knew that when I decide I can go on him, because he came in on me there, didn't he?
Yeah.
So he was defending Ed, and he was basically saying, "No, Wiley, if I work with Ed, you can't say nothing." But he weren't there in the original time, so I just knew I could use that angle, didn't I? So, but me and Stormzy, the clash happened January because I told my manager, upload my January the 1st, I'm bringing grime back, I'm going back to the fruit market. You know, Roman Road, I'm taking it all back because that industry wasn't mine, but grime was mine, the whole genre, right? So I've gone on him, he's come back on me, we're doing that, and then my manager and me stopped talking. And the labels were like shuffling around because because he's protected Stormzy. So by the building, he's in the building that I'm in, and I've been in the building all this time, and now he's coming, and so it was like a bit of a confrontation, and I knew that I could go on him, so I went on him. But it wasn't really for him; it was because he tried to defend who I was really going at. You know what I mean?
But you know, like where obviously he pays like homage to you in his tracks. He's like the
I went
Wiley
homage,
fan.
went homage.
You're gonna have to talk to
It was a
me.
lie. You know, what?
Wait, let me know. Like, I need to
It was a
learn.
lie because
Wait, what?
this
Wiley
was
Flow.
a lie. Wiley Flow was a lie. Do you know why Wiley Flow was a lie?
Why?
Well, listen to Disappointed. You was in the place badding up my dad, apparently. So where would the homage? If you badded up my dad and that stayed in your brain, you wouldn't do Wiley Flow, would you? After. So, because apparently he had a little thing with my little brother.
Okay.
But my dad was just like around there, but I wasn't there. So basically what MCs do is they live and they look at each other, and when a girl says, "Yeah, I heard about him," they store it. And when when it's time to clash, it will all come off. So we're all lying to each other all year. What's happening, man?
Yeah, I know when I drop this, I'm quite. But I think the beauty of that is, and actually, I think you have to give him a bit of credit.
I do.
Because to come back with a track. You imagine the amount of people that went to him. Don't give him
The whole building said, "Don't do it."
Don't give him the exposure. You know.
Because he could have ignored me, and then I'd be talking to the wall, wouldn't I?
No, then it was just like, oh, this kid's.
That'd be terrible. Drunk in Wetherspoon. Give him a pint and
Yeah, that's what we're going to close on. What do you want in life? What's it all about for you? Where are you going?
My final thing, what I want in life is I want my children to be okay. So when you see me doing everything you see me doing, really, I'm just doing it for them. And basically, I know that...
you want some more success out of your music?
No. I can't see myself anymore because I don't know what it is, but like 41 Music England, it's not like... I started when I was 16. So I was in Bethnal Green on the stage like, Wiley. So it's like 26, 7 years later. And I feel weird in this job. Like my dad worked for British Telecom for 18 years and then he left. And so I feel like I've been in the 5th year of school forever. So I do want to go. And basically my daughter's 14, so she's going to come along and...
You know when you done that track to Stormzy, was she going, "Oh, Dad, you're so embarrassing."
She won't talk to me about it, but she'll listen on the sly. And she'll, but she loves Americans music. Yeah, she listens to and she loves D Block Europe. My daughter, she knows what I do, but when she sees me do it, she laughs. She giggles like, "Oh, look at Daddy, speaking too fast."
It's worse when you have family members in the comedian who don't laugh.
Oh, man.
Where do you go though from an art? Do you move into
music business?
Right, yeah.
I want to go into music business, sit on the chair, go and have lattes, go for dinner, go and have beers. You know, the easier part of it, because the other part of it is, I think
Is that nurturing talent? Is that signing talent?
Yes,
is that bringing
is
talent through?
all of that, and
there must be bundles out there, right?
There is bundles, but that's why I was so mad at Ed Sheeran's boss, because we was working together and then we stopped working together. Then all of a sudden 20 years have passed and all the talent is in there and I ain't got one AJ out of it. So I need a AJ, don't I? And then I'll sit down. I need one AJ, mate, and I'll be fine.
Tom, you?
It's, you know what it is, a thing of professional and personal life. So I look at family health, I look at my mental health. I look at like weirdly boxing and like sort of getting back into doing that. But you know, professional life, I'm fucking ambitious, man. I think like 8 years ago I'm on a building site and I'm knocking up scaffold. 8 years later I've won a BAFTA breakthrough. I've got a show on BBC One. So I look at Kevin Hart, I look at The Rock, and I look at those guys and what they're doing, and I think set your sights high. It's like, you know, it's like yourself, and you know, but also getting new talent through. Got these two lads out of Hackney at the moment who are writing a comedy, and like they're fucking they're
funny,
rough,
they're funny
gang boys, but they're funny as fuck.
Funny,
They, you know, both been like through the mitt, like, but they're funny. Like you get them in a room and they make me piss my pants laughing. Like one of them just like telling me about stories of buying fake Nike Airs, and I'm like, I knew that. I was doing that in Tooting Market when I was a kid. And like, you know, getting sort of going out and the other kids clocking it and all that. But he's funny kids. And you're like, if I can get them on like writing saying, and I can script edit it and you can stick it on Netflix or whatever, which is not with that reason, that buzzes me. More than it. You know, like, so what you're saying,
with
that
youths.
thing, with the youths and getting them through. And so ambition, it's that. But also family health. Let's stay healthy and fucking but ambitious, man. I look at you, Ed.
Do you know what, man? On the family health, it's a massive thing, because you go out, don't you? Like you spend your years from 16, certainly to 30, and then like just out and just sort of just drinking and like not really looking after yourself. And I feel like the new generation of kids coming through is much more health conscious than it was when we were growing up. Like smoking, actually, like my daughter is 10, one of them, and she's like, she thinks smoking is like, I mean, she just thinks it kills you. Do you know what I mean? Like, and actually, she's saying to me, oh, like, is there a lot of salt in that? Or like, it's like little bits and pieces. Where back in the day, it's like
boozing.
Just the butter. You know what I mean? Like a wallet. You know. So, but I think that the health is so important. And actually, that's why when we talk about boxing, not just what it can do for the kids, but actually to get them active. But with you, you're the youngest on the table. At your age, like, I can't tell you. The only thing I can tell you is that where your mind is at now is a million miles from where your mind will be at 40.
Really?
Can you imagine back to 23, 24? Like what I'm saying is, you really don't know anything right now. And if you could throw it back and say, imagine if you could be 23, like, and what you know now, and actually, like,
some of the mistakes I made.
Yeah, it's mad because like obviously I look at, you know, my career. I started when I was like 16, 17 on YouTube. I had like my peak, like my biggest when I'm like, 19. I'm like so far ahead of where I'm meant to be. And it's sort of like, I mean, I got to a point, obviously it starts sort of dipping a bit. It's sort of like, I've done my thing and now it's like, okay, I've rinsed this now. It's like, where am I going now? I've honestly got to points at like 23 when I'm like,
retire.
Not retire, but like, what am I going to do? So like, hearing you say that, it's
but
like,
do you become old, like, not old, because I know Logan and Kat, they're older than you, but there's so much, because it's an open platform. It's not like, you know, like you've got the comedians, right? So it's like good ones come along, but I think it's accessible. But these guys, it's so accessible because absolutely anyone. It doesn't mean that they're going to hit the numbers and they're going to, but you know, there's so many people evolving on that platform.
100%.
It's very hard to stay at the top for long.
And it's very hard to stay yourself and trying to stay at the top. Because what a lot of people do is they'll look at what's doing well. Me being myself is only getting this. But if I do that, I'll get the views. And that's when you start going crazy.
I've got to say for you as well, just quickly, I've met a lot of these YouTube guys. You're like so together, and you're not. Like like, I've met a lot of these kids, and you chat to them. Like, I'm good pals with Steve O, the Madman, who's like me, coming an older like guy, you know, and he's come in, he smashed it, and I like Steve. You know, Steve O's like myself. But when you meet these young kids, like sometimes you're like, fuck, you've had that success so early, like a bit like a footballer who comes in. But you're so together. When I look at you, I'm like, you seem like you've got your fucking
head screwed on.
Well, I think a lot of like the YouTube guys, especially the UK ones that I know, I think, you know, they've almost had to hit that point where it starts getting to their head, and they have that fall, and then they sort of come back and they sort of like learn sort of in themselves how they need to be in order to be successful. So you know what I mean? And so for me, I got onto your point about, what was it, how I want to be remembered? What was the question?
Yeah, well, just where you're going, really,
where
what
I'm
you want
going,
out of life. I mean,
I just want to be integral to myself and get my peak success through being myself, showing my talent through doing what I do rather than seeing. Because on this, like nowadays, even with like music, surely you like look at this sort of genre, it's making these sort of beats, sort of may do well, but that's not you.
No, and imagine this kid playing with a toy on YouTube, Ryan TV. The toy, like, stopped people from going to the shop to buy the toy.
That's
and he's got 17 million views.
No, but they're dodgy, mate, because it's not just kids watching that.
Okay.
Those sort of dodgy.
What, Ryan TV?
No, I don't know about just him, but I know there's.
I get you. The other one.
YouTube videos where they have like kids like playing with toys.
Was adults, mate. I can see with a dinosaur. With my son saying, "Dada, dinosaur," and then there's an adult like that.
Yeah. Well, that's scary in itself.
But I get you though.
Especially having kids who live on social media.
No, 100%.
You got to be so careful.
Without a doubt.
I think the thing that fascinates me about your world, meeting Logan and KSI, is I just thought they'd just be sitting here and go, let's do a video. But the thought and the timing that goes into the content, it's like being a filmmaker.
Yes.
Or like,
It's
right,
amazing.
what we're going to do is we're going to film this and it's going to drop at this time, and I think this is the perfect content. They might film a bit and go, edit it and go,
100%.
no. I just thought it was just like a random, I'm funny, like, let me film this.
That's what most people, that's when it's like, it's just YouTubers, discredit, no credibility there. That's the natural thought, because it's so easy to just put a video online that you'd think that surely not much goes into it. But in order to get to those sort of levels, the top levels, it's everything is so calculated.
Time consuming.
Like with anything.
And he saw it. He saw it anyway because he looked at it and said, "Right, where can I get these bunches of seats?"
I was doing the press conference, right? So if we do a press conference for a major fight, AJ's a bit different, but like Dillian White fight or a big pay-per-view fight, we might get 40, 50,000 people watching the press conference live, right? We did this press conference with KSI Logan Paul. I must say, I was sitting there going, "What the fuck's going on?" And 900,000 people watched it. I'm thinking, if I put this on BBC One, it wouldn't hit these numbers. I mean, it's a Champ.
Yes.
Where are we going? I met you. I've noticed you got houses now. You got a deal with Boohoo Man. You got British Commonwealth European Championship, and your next fight's for the World Cruiserweight Championship. Where are we going?
Obviously, world champion, unified this year, move up to heavyweight, become a heavyweight world champion. And that's just on the boxing side, but then on a personal, I want to find a good woman.
That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about.
Settle down, create a family, and go on to be a good husband and dad.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Would you fight AJ?
No.
Don't do it. It's
no, I wouldn't,
Would you, would you fight, is Thingy in your weight, or is he rich? Was he Buatsi?
Oh, Buatsi's
is he smaller?
Sorry. One weight.
Them two are the only two people I wouldn't.
Even if it means that's the World Heavyweight Championship, that's the only chance you're
I hope he's gone, innit?
Yeah, or he drops one. IBF, WBO, whatever. So
is he gonna get stripped?
Who's that?
Josh?
No, not at the moment. We're juggling it.
That's a good indication of your character, though.
What?
That you wouldn't do that.
Man, come on, man.
That's good. Yeah.
I'll cancel that one off. But the difference is, like with the boxing, I think what's fascinating is the time scale of the career is so small.
Is it really?
It is, because
what's the age? What's the usual age?
35, he'll be done by 34. I mean, but don't forget, he's 27 now, so that's another 7 years boxing. But the thing is, what I always say to the kids coming through, the fighters, it is tough, but trust me, like we'll be working till we're 70, right? You will be done at 32, 33. Don't mean you ain't gonna have to work again, but the tough stuff. If you work at it now, if you make the sacrifices now, you can live a great life.
When did Nigel Benn stop?
Probably early 30s. I mean, he was a savage. Like he was an amazing fighter. I mean, the fight really, boxed Gerald McClellan. McClellan got injured in that fight. That was a tough fight for him to. But he's in this stage now. Nigel Benn, growing up, was a wild man.
I remember.
Wild.
I don't remember what he was.
But he would be DJing in IB. I mean, he was being legends, and he would be like he was a handful. And now he's found God. And he's like the most calm. He lives out in Australia. Connor's doing really well.
Connor, have you got him?
Yeah, of course.
He's great
He's a great fighter. I mean,
do you think him versus Kelly will happen?
Yeah, Kelly's got all the pedigree, right? Connor's just got
rawness,
stock,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So when Connor started, he was all over the place. Like we debuted him, poor thing, at the O2, right? And he was like, he came out, he'd had 5 amateur fights, basically in a shed in Sydney, right?
Yeah.
Next thing, he's like Nigel Benn's son. He's coming out the O2, he's all over the place. And he was like, what, the improvements that he's made, honestly, like he lives in, actually where I live, in the same village.
Yep.
And I saw him out the other day with his missus walking his dogs. He's 22, right? The dedication that he has and the improvements that he's made.
Yeah.
The only thing that he's got is the genes.
Yeah.
Right? So he hasn't got gold medals in the Commonwealths.
Yeah, but don't you believe in him? Don't you think he could get?
I do, but
is he?
generally he's welterweight, right? But generally, the ones that, it's like a racehorse, right? The ones that make it, the ones that win the big races, are the ones that come out of great stock, but they've got a history. From when they were born, they ate the right things. You know, they had the right training. You know, they had the right physios. They had the right vet service. About being a fighter. When these boys, and Lawrence went through the system for a little bit, he was part of the GB team. Yeah. So you have the best training. You learn about nutrition. You learn how to live the life of a fighter. So the ones that don't have that, very rarely make it. Very rarely. Like, you can't just be a geezer who comes off the street and says to me, oh mate, I'm 19 or 20 and like, I think I can fight. Like, and they go on and become a world champion.
It's not like that.
So with Connor, the only reason he got his opportunity is because he was Nigel Benn's son, right? Fair dues. You know, I come from similar stock, right? So, but what he's shown is like the work ethic that he's got. And what I love about him is his relationship with his dad. You go from like the Eubanks, which is like on another level, to the Benns, where the dad says to him, son, you're on your own. Good luck to you. I'm here for you every step of the way, but I'm off to Australia and good luck.
Also, he don't train, don't go with him training.
No, he comes, he watches some of his fights. He's like, they speak every day. Got a great relationship. But it's given him, you know, that your dad can't hold your hand with you all the time. And that's the one thing. Listen, Eubank Jr. is a good fighter, but it just drives me potty that the old man's there constantly. And with Nigel and Connor, it's so refreshing because he leaves him to Tony Sims. But what Connor's done is, you know, he's made some money, but he ain't, although he appears to be quite flashy, he really does have a great mindset, you know, of someone that comes from a successful family, but he's putting all the graft in and more. But Kelly Ben is a big fight in time. In fact, Josh Kelly's fighting David Evanesian, which is a European champion. That's a really tough fight.
Kelly.
Yeah, but that's the stage when you get to, and look, we've got those kids who come out of Rio Olympics, which is Lawrence, Joe Caldina, another great fighter, Kez Ashfaq, Joshua Boazzi, Josh Kelly, and and Fowler, and they're all nearly ready to take acid tests. He's had a few acid tests, but now you get the chance. You're going to be the first world champ out of the Rio Olympians. Boazzi as well is a special talent. I love very, that kid, very good fighter. Very good fighter. Right, we're going to wrap up. Finally, we've talked some boxing and some really weird stuff, but it's been fun. One fight to make this year, and you can't say you v Glowacki for the world title because that's getting late anyway. You can say you, but you can't say the Glowacki fight because that's almost done.
Cool. I would say Okolie versus whoever the WBA champion is after I've won the WBA.
No, what I'm going to ask you is one heavyweight fight that you could have, right? You move up and you get the chance to fight any of the heavyweights for as much money as you can, but who is the guy you would love to fight in the heavyweight division, and who do you most fancy beating of the big names?
Probably the number 4 in Dylan White.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You against Dylan?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, because the top 3, you know what? We'll leave that. But yeah, top 4.
Okolie v Dillian White.
Why not?
Back end of 2020.
He's got it.
Joe?
Without a doubt, AJ Wilder. It has to be. You know, it has to be.
I know what you mean.
Do you know what I mean? It has to be.
And I'll ask you one question.
Yep.
Jake Paul against Anderson Gibb next Thursday night.
Yeah.
Jake Paul the big favourite or not?
Technically, yeah. But I think because it's a 6-round fight, I think Gibb will be able to just put on pressure, be the aggressor the whole fight, and through being the aggressor, get the win on points. I don't think there'll be a knockout. I think it'll go similar to how KSI Logan went.
Are you pals with Gibb?
Yeah.
He's a nutter, isn't he?
Nutter, but he claims it's like calculated psychopath. That's his thing. But I don't know. The way I
hope
see
he
it,
uses that in the press conference.
no, innit? But like, you saw how he easily lost his composure and did the whole push at the press conference. I'm concerned Jake's gonna know how to push his buttons. Yeah. And that's what I'm worried about. But you know,
Gibb
if he does,
points,
that's what I think. Gibb on points.
Wiley?
Ruiz and Dylan White.
Yeah.
Oof, that's a
I do, because I think Ruiz, I'm not finished watching him. I need him to come back. I want to see him fight. I don't know what's wrong.
As much as he's driven me mad this year, I want to see him fight again. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
And I think that when someone's been up and down,
man.
and you don't really know what you're going to get,
it will be a war.
Like it's like, is he actually good, Andy? Like, how good is he? Is he actually elite, or is he just a solid heavyweight? Who got lucky at Madison Square Garden, or is it by him against Dylan? You're right.
I think he can beat someone else.
I think you're right.
I think he can leave AJ alone. I think he will beat someone else who doesn't think who thinks they can beat him. Sorry.
Yeah.
I like to see Billy Joe versus Canelo.
I like that.
Oh yeah.
That would be a great fight.
But it's Canelo. His people don't want to give it.
No, he's been ducking Billy Joe.
Yeah, we're talking at the moment. I mean, you've got Calum Smith and Billy Joe Saunders. Yeah. So both super middleweight world champions. Billy's been wanting that fight for a long time. Problem is with Billy is the start. Billy's style is tough to beat, right? Yeah. He's like Tyson Fury, whereas on his night can beat absolutely anyone, right? And he showed that against Lemieux, but he needs that big fight. We got Demetrius Andrade from America, same kind of thing. Brilliant middleweight, who's really tough to beat. So these guys, they look at the styles. That's why probably the Ruiz style was a bad pick, because for AJ, a short guy with fast hands who wings them in over the top is always going to be tough. So, you know, I think if Billy Joe don't get the Canelo fight, he should fight Calum Smith. I still like to see Billy Joe against Eubank again, just for the Billy Joe's got one of the most acid tongues.
I love that.
You could even
but I think he ducked him early. I think after that Hovgen fight, I think Canelo ducked Billy Joe. I'd love to see Chisora Usyk as well.
Yeah, boys. It's been an absolute pleasure. I don't know how it's going to end up, but I really enjoyed it. Absolute respect. Thanks for coming.